I did get a better reaction from Rod Brind'amour to the goal after the fact. I refused to allow. Well, it was a bad goal. Like, no.
Yeah, did we watch the same play?
Whether or not Jacob Markstrom wants that whole sequence back is another story altogether. There was nothing about that was cheap. That was one of the plays of the year for me. Something that, I don't know, Mike Commodore might be capable of doing. Maybe not today, but Mike Commodore's name is on the Stanley Cup. A Hurricanes legend joins us as we check in on Carolina's run to maybe another Stanley Cup. Just about that play. I mean, how much of that was something that very few other people are capable of doing?
Well, I know I can't do it. I'll just say that. I couldn't do that at any point. Definitely not now. And I wouldn't have done that 20 years ago either. But, yeah, there was a lot to that. But, thanks a lot for having me on. I appreciate it. It's nice to chat.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know if you saw that play live. I actually reacted to the steal first, and then the goal to me was, you've got to be kidding. But I thought the defensive play alone was worth the highlight.
Yeah, the defense was awesome. I did see it. Being completely honest, I was at a bar, so I wasn't like I was watching it super close. I've been watching a lot of the games this year. I watch the playoffs all the time, but I was at a bar during this, so I didn't see the whole thing. I kind of saw it in clips, but I did see the defensive part of it, which was great. But yeah, it was a fantastic play. There's no doubt about it.
I mean, there aren't very many players who can do that. And the thing about Slavin is that particular shot, he did it to the Islanders a year ago, banking it off the mask of Ilya Sorokin. He did it to the Rangers, I believe, in bubble hockey, scoring. It was either on Henrik Lundqvist or Igor Shesterkin. Shesterkin was more, I don't know if Shesterkin was a starter then or not, but he has done that before. As a defenseman watching Jacob Slavin, what are the things that people miss the most about his game?
Yeah, I think he's kind of been, if you want to, I mean, I know not in the Raleigh area, but he's kind of been a little bit of a secret on how good he is. I mean, I won't say like amongst the players and former players, but just in general, up until that Four Nations, and he got a lot of press during the Four Nations. But I'd say, like, at least for when I'm watching the game, I mean, he makes a lot. I mean, obviously his positioning, it's a lot of stuff that isn't like, you can watch him play. I'd say in the Four Nations, for example, like, he was playing a lot. He's playing against the best players, and I wouldn't say he's not going to make a ton of plays that, like, for your average fan, like, wows you, but he's always in the right spot. He's taking care of the other team's best players. And that, I mean, speaking from experience, I got to try to do that, a little bit during my career. And that's not easy to do, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, and at Four Nations, to deal with McDavid on one shift and then McKinnon on the next, I mean, that'll give you gray hair. And he's just like ho-hum about it. I talked to Seth Jarvis before, and Jarvis actually was quoted. I asked him about it after the fact, but Jarvis was quoted as saying, I don't want to play against Slavin because he would beat you and then he wouldn't talk about it. He would just smile at you. Like, there's no chirping to Jacob Slavin. Is that more disconcerting?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, it all depends on the individual's personality, but yeah, I mean, I think I would imagine as an offensive guy or whatever, especially if you're a little bit mouthier. So let's just, I'll just use like a Matthew Tkachuk who kind of comes up, if he's getting shut down and Slavin's not buying into any of his, extra antics or yapping back and forth, and he realizes that that's not his personality and that's not in his best interest, so I'm going to avoid it at all, and I'm just going to play. That would be a little disconcerting for sure for somebody on the other side, I would imagine.
Mike Commodore is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Canes Devils Game 5 tonight. Speaking of extra antics, we have seen them in the series. I'm not sure that anything awful happened with Meyer versus Freddie Anderson. I thought it should have been a 2-minute minor called on the ice. I don't think it certainly wasn't a major penalty because there wasn't a ton of contact, but you can't hit the goalie and Meyer clearly hit the goalie. What was your view of that play and subsequently Carolina's response to it?
Yeah, I thought it was fine, and I'm with you on the 2 minute. Like I will be, I get a little lost these days with when it comes to goalie interference. I think everybody is a little bit because especially if the sound is off and I'm just watching and I'll look and I'll be like, okay, like that was interference, and then it's not, or the other way as well. So I'm a little confused on it in general, but I'm with you there. I thought it was definitely he was in there. I thought it was a 2 minute penalty. I didn't think it was anything egregious. And if I was, the response was fine. If I'm with the Hurricanes, hey, look, you're up 3-1. Let's just keep this train rolling. We don't need to get worried about the other stuff, and I think they're doing a good job of that.
Because it is the playoffs, and we have seen nastiness all over. All you got to do is look to the Battle of Florida to see how nasty a series can get. And I'm okay with it. Does Carolina need to be involved in more of that, or should they stay away from all of those things? Because I think teams will take liberties if you really don't push back.
No, don't get me confused. You need to push back. I think you don't need to. I don't think that's a massive strength of the Canes, let's say. But at the same time, if I'm in that locker room, I don't want to get pushed around either. And if the opportunity presents itself, or if it's the right personnel or whatnot, more importantly, time in the game, time in the series, then hey, if you want to try and even score a little bit, or if you want to put a little exclamation mark on something, then I'm all for that, 100%. I think that's a huge part of playoff hockey, to be honest. So, yeah, I mean, I do think it's a fine line, and Rod will have a good grasp of that. I mean, you don't want people running wild, but if the time's right, obviously the most important thing is to win the games and to stay in the games, and that's most important. But yeah, by no means do you want to be out there getting pushed around. Not a chance.
Mike Commodore is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. I talked to Sean Hill, and he said after that play, the Meyer versus Anderson, he said, you don't have to fight, but Meyer needed to have third-degree jersey burns on the back of his neck, which is a good way of putting that. Let me ask you what you like the most about this Hurricanes team as they are made up.
You know what? I mean, I think, with today's game, I think speed-wise, I like their back end from what I've seen. Like, I think some guys have taken, I usually end up kind of looking at the back end, so the D-core a little bit, and they've impressed me as a whole. They're not just the guys that you expect, but as a whole, I think they've been very good. You know what? I mean, I've been, to be honest, the last few years, in the playoffs especially, I'd like the Canes. You just have to look at their record. They've been very, very successful since Rod took it over. Sorry. The only thing I would say is just that it hasn't come out yet, and hopefully it doesn't. But it's just the last couple of years, I think they've just been a little susceptible. And I'm not blaming any one person, but you just can't have the weak goals. That's you get once in a while that happens, but you can't be having multiple goals go in from below the goal line, for example, which kind of happened the last couple of years. So, if they can tighten that up, which it looks like they are, and keep doing what they're doing, they look good to me. I think they can easily. I don't want to get ahead. It's game by game for sure, but I can get ahead of it now. I have nothing to do with it. So, I mean, I like them. I don't see any reason why they can't come out of the East. It's not going to be easy, but I don't see any reason why they can't.
Final thing for Mike Commodore, Hurricanes legend. They should sell bathrobes in the team store. I don't know why they don't, unless you have prevented them from doing so.
No, I have not. Trust me, I have. They can sell all they want if anybody wants them.
If it's just bathrobes with Hartford Whaler logos on them would sell like crazy. How hard is it as a player to not get ahead of everything and look towards win this game and get some rest? And how hard is it to just focus on a shift, shift in, shift out? Because everybody can look too far ahead.
Yeah. I mean, I'll just speak from my own experience. I was fortunate enough to go to the finals twice, in 2004 with Calgary, and then obviously with Carolina in 2006. And I wasn't when I was in Calgary, I didn't play the last three games in the final, so I had nothing to do with the result. But I got ahead of myself. Now, like I said, I wasn't playing anymore. I was done. But I got ahead of myself there when we were up 3-2 against Tampa, and I remember sitting I'm like, this thing, I mean, we are good defensively. I'm like, I borderline almost started planning the parties, just not with the rest of the guys, but just in my own head. I'm like, man, I'm going to have a great summer. And we lose game 6 and 7, and that was it. It didn't work out for us. And moving forward, when I was in Carolina the next NHL year, I remember for me personally, I'm like, hey, I'm taking this thing game by game. I think it's important. It's a cliche, and I hate saying it, but you just look at these I'll just use, cause I'm out west, so I see a lot of the West. Winnipeg, St. Louis. Winnipeg's up 2-0.
Yeah.
Winnipeg fans are going banana. Oh yeah, this is over. Blah blah blah. Sweep. Now it's 2-2. I think it's, as a player, it's you got to keep it, and it's a cliche for sure. But hey, look, when you win a game, that's great. You should be excited. Good job. But it's not like let's start popping bottles here. And when you lose a game the same way, I don't care if you lose. Hey, it's the playoffs. If you lose by a goal, I mean, I know it feels different for sure, or if you get blown out by 10, at the end of the day, you lost one game. And I think it's just important to keep everything in perspective and try and keep everything even keel. And I think that'll help you a little bit. Especially when it comes to elimination games, guys can play like you can. There's a tendency some guys you play tentative. I don't want to use the word like scared.
Right.
That's a little too harsh. But tentative, and I think that's when you're not out there just playing, you're there for a reason, you're on the team for a reason, go out there and play. I think the results are going to work out more in your favor than not. Definitely more than if you're playing tentative. That's
sure. Right. That is right. Don't weather the storm, make it. Mike Commodore, Hurricanes legend, I appreciate your time at Commie 22. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, and we will talk to you soon.
Awesome. Thanks a lot for having me on, and go Canes.
You got it. Mike Commodore here. One of the absolute best.